part 3. So today, Dallas, Texas, snowing. Yay! We often don't get a lot of snow, so there's a lot of people out enjoying snow day today, and hopefully it will stick, and it's always fun to experience. Like I said, not something that we get to enjoy, so when it comes around, man, people get out and about, and their kids and dogs. I took my dog out, and why not? You get not too many opportunities to seize the moment. So that kind of takes me into seizing the moment of how and why I got my business started, and this is going to be part 3 of this. I'm doing 4 parts. This is going to be 15 minutes. So I'll do 15 minutes and then 15 minutes, so that way people can tune in and tune out. I know it's probably longer than what I hear, but anyway, point being, so yesterday I kind of got into how and why and the vision of me always wanting to be an entrepreneur. Then I kind of dovetailed into how simple it is to actually start a business, and then I polished it into COVID and where we're at with that. So I'm going to kind of take it a couple steps back. So, starting a business, there's one thing between starting a business, and there's a whole different thing about running a business and making it successful. So I want to go back to starting a business, and I'm going to hit up on a couple things. First and foremost, if you're wanting to start a business, it's fairly simple. You don't have to make it as difficult as it is, but there's a couple steps that I would encourage you to take. The first step is, you don't have to write a business model, but it would be a really, really good idea to grab a piece of paper and put out some bullet points of why do you want to do this? Write it down. Like, why do you want to start a business? 2, what problem or problems are you looking to solve? In other words, in my world, AV, I solve people's technology issues. I solve people's challenges with what's the latest and greatest and Wi-Fi. Simple as maybe just installing a TV. That's actually how I got started. I was just solving people's issues. The first job I ever had, the guy didn't know how to get some sound on his rooftop. Figured that out. In construction, when we were remodeling, we remodeled some bathrooms, and they just wanted a better bathroom. A lot of them because they wanted to live in it. Some of them wanted to set their house up for sale. Then they didn't want to go on this crazy, like, hey, I want to spend $30,000 on a bathroom. They wanted to do something budget friendly that made sense, so aesthetically. Whatever that problem is, you have to be looking at, what am I solving? What am I bringing to the table? And just because somebody else is doing it, it doesn't mean that you can't do the same thing. There's plenty of AV companies out there. There's plenty of builders out there. There's enough business to go around in this world for you to step into choosing to start your own business. Now, that being said, I talked about having a DBA. The simplicity of a DBA and doing business as. Another form, there's a handful of different forms, and it really depends on what you're wanting to do. So one is like an LLC, so it's a limited liability corporation. Then you get into C Corps and S Corps. And then if you are wanting to do a non-for-profit organization, then there's going to be ways of doing that. My point being is that regardless of what you choose, which direction you choose to go, seek out an accountant, and there's plenty of them out there. I mean, that is one profession that if I would have gone back to school and said, okay, let me find one education that I could get, one thing that I'm always going to have a job, there's 2. One's a nurse and the other one's an accountant, right? Because everybody needs an accountant. But I chose not to. Ultimately, talk to an accountant, talk to a professional, determine what is the best course of action. And if it is to start an LLC, like I have an LLC, many entrepreneurs, business owners, real estate folks have an LLC. And there's a lot of benefits to owning an LLC. One of those is if you set it up right, it's protecting you and you're protecting your assets to a large degree. And two, it acts as a somewhat of a tax shelter. So I know a lot of people this year and before, when news was hitting on Donald Trump's taxes and you know, a lot, not just Donald Trump, but a lot of multimillionaires and billionaires and successful individuals don't pay a lot in taxes. And one of the ways they go about that is they have a company, and that company may be an LLC. And then the LLC, essentially you create a company and then you become an employee of your own company. You write your own W-2, which is different from being a sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is kind of what falls under like a DBA or even an LLC. You're essentially just paying whatever taxes that you make. So if you make $100, you pay taxes on $100. When you have an LLC and your LLC makes $100, your business may pay some taxes. But when you're an employee of that, you are now a W-2. Then you can write whatever salary you want. So if it's $25 of that $100, I'm only paying taxes on that $25. I can still pull dividends off of my company, and I can still use my company to buy houses and cars and so many different things where I'm not getting taxed. So I would encourage you to speak to an accountant, to do some research, to learn more about it, and make the right decision for you. That being said, make the decision. It's not hard. It's fairly simple once you have a basic understanding and get some guidance. The next thing I would encourage you to do, and I failed in doing this because I just thought, hey, I'm small and I don't need this. My ego got in the way. Again, lots and lots of mistakes. Hire a bookkeeper, not an accountant. Accountants are not bookkeepers. You don't want to pay an accountant prices to do bookkeeping. And the whole purpose is that it doesn't really matter how big you are. When you're getting started, what you don't want is to not be organized. So hire a bookkeeper. My bookkeeper, Nicole Peterson, is awesome. She's a good friend of mine. And if you need a bookkeeper, feel free to ping her or ping me, and I'll be more than happy to make the introduction. She was one of the people that saved my tail. Saved it. I was an absolute disaster from a bookkeeping standpoint. I had just split up from a business partnership, and ultimately my books were a disaster. It was so bad that it took her 1 year to correct the giant mess in QuickBooks in all my bookkeeping. Now she does my personal, now she does my business. My life is 1,000 times better. I know how much I make, I know how much the business makes. We have an amazing relationship. She works with my accountant. I mean, it's a whole nice team that we've built. And if I would have known then what I know now, I would have done that while I was starting the business. I would have had an accountant, I would have had a bookkeeper, and it didn't matter if I had $100 to open up the bank account. I would have had all that in place and or getting into place before I really got my first business deal. And ultimately, it just helps structure you so you don't have to worry about it. And I know for me, my ego was like, I'm small, but I also took advice from a lot of individuals who weren't thinking that big, and they weren't really giving me the right advice. Unfortunately, a lot of individuals who are small business owners, they just feel that they want to do it all themselves. And that's great. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm simply saying it's not the best way to do it. There's a lot of very intelligent people on this planet, and you utilize them. Utilize them to the best of your ability. I have believed in one thing, which is any amount of success that you have in your life is a direct result of not just only the efforts that you put in, but the people that you allow to assist you in that growth. I am not here today because I did all this myself. No, I have been blessed by knowing a lot of the right people. A lot of my friends and family have supported me along the way. I have gotten guidance and advice from personal mentors and counselors and specialists. I have sought out all sorts of different knowledge, and I continue to seek out knowledge. I continue to seek out people that are in a place in life that are doing exactly what I want to be doing when I want to be doing it. My vision isn't just this year or this month or this week. My vision carries on 5 to 10 to 20 years down the road. So I would encourage you to have vision. I would encourage you to do some due diligence. And if you want to file your own LLC, if that's the path, then you know what? It's like $400. You can file it, and within a month or so, well, who knows now with COVID, but you can have a limited liability corporation and have a little tax shelter, and then also protect your business and protect a lot of your personal assets. The neat thing about that too is that, you know, even if you don't have this crazy business model, I would encourage you to start a business. If you are a teacher, if you are a business person, if you are whatever your line of work is, start a business on the side. Start writing off some of those taxes and start taking some of the money that you make and doing something with it. There's a great book out there. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon, and I would encourage you to read it or listen to it via Audible. It really teaches money-making principles. And for all those individuals that are really smart and successful, guess what? Read it anyway. And if you're not crazy financially savvy and smart, read it. It's a great, great book. And it's a short book, and it's written in story form, so anybody can read it, anybody can listen to it, and it won't take long, but I would strongly encourage you to do it. Dovetailing a little bit back, starting a business, like I said, is the first. It's one of the easiest things you can do, but it's also one of the most difficult things you can do, because starting a business isn't just starting a business. Now you're kind of creating this little baby. So the second thing I would encourage you to do is know exactly where you stand. I mentioned this before. Write down all your finances. Write down your debts. Write down every single thing that you own, where your money's coming from. It doesn't matter if you make a lot of money. It doesn't matter if you don't make a lot of money. Know exactly the penny that you have in your bank accounts. Know exactly every single thing about your finances. If you're in debt and you got a bunch of credit cards, put them all down. Because when you start a business, I don't know what your business is going to be, but the business isn't something like, hey, I'm going to be, yes, you want to make more money. But it can't be, the business model can't be, hey, I'm going to continue to spend money over here and be in debt and then hope one day that this little business is going to solve my debt problems. Essentially, what you're doing is you got problems over here, and if you haven't addressed those problems, then you're going to carry on those mistakes into your business, and you're going to ruin that too. That's just the black and the white. Because you haven't dealt with the first part, which is I have to structure a solution whereby whatever business, whatever personal and financial issues I got going over here, I have to know exactly where I stand. I have to know down to the penny, and then I have to come up with some sort of creative model that simply says, what steps am I taking in order to get out of this situation? A business is only going to add to your limited time frame, frustration, and anxiety if you haven't dealt with this aspect over here. So, first and foremost, deal with this, create some sort of little business plan, know where you stand. Then in doing so, you can be encouraged in knowing, hey, I got this little business, and it doesn't have to be a multi-billion-dollar business. It can make as much as you want. I met a lady, part of a leadership group that I'm a part of. She wants to start a face painting business. So simple, to the point. It's not going to make her millions, but it is fun money. It is vacation money. So I'm going to encourage you to do those steps before you go full blown out in creating this new business. Know exactly where you stand. So this is Bruce Solis, Core Multimedia Solutions, wishing you the best. About to do part 4. Peace out.